I'm hoping that starting this recording does not crash Minecraft. Is it going? Is it not crashing Minecraft? Okay then, good. So this isn't a Minecraft video, but I have Minecraft open in another tab because I'm letting things run just AFK on there. I might show you guys around my regrowth base once I build it up a bit more. So, a little while ago, this person, GKE Kellex, submitted 4 days ago a post in Story, Art, and Sound asking if, when Lunar Wraith Caitlyn will be coming back at some point, and then she, this person changed it from IP to RP because I commented down here pointing out, champions don't cost IP. This was originally said IP. They cost RP, and this one was $13.50. So, does anyone know if when the skin will return and how much it will cost so I can set aside RP now it's been changed? Thanks. And then the little note about the edit, that the error. If they bring it, I commented, if they bring it back, it'll be a Lunar Revel next year around February, I think? Chinese New Year. The skins don't cost IP, they cost RP, and this one was a $13.50 RP skin. I know because I currently have it sitting in my Hextech crafting. I don't own Caitlyn, but she's who I'm gonna buy probably next, and it's listed as an epic skin shard, and epic skins are $13.50. To which, as you can probably see by this little red tab down here, and the start of that riot symbol, a rioter responded, Riot Katie Chaos. Yup, this is correct. She also has the potential to come back at a random time through the year as well. This is interesting to me. It's a rioter outright saying, yeah, you're right that the skin... I don't even know if my voice is being captured because I don't have my earbuds in, but I think it's going on an inbuilt mic, and I'll watch this through later once I'm done recording to see. As you can see, it's 1:30 a.m. I probably need to go to bed soon. Anyways, so I wanted to talk about this writer comment from Katie Chaos saying that Lunar Wraith Caitlyn has a potential to come back at some random point throughout the year as well. Also, in the list of things that I wanted to talk about are, I believe if it's on the boards it would be in Dev Corner, but I'm not sure. Replays testing on new league client and NA only. I might have to look into that because as you can see down here, I have the client available. So, normal draft. Okay. I'm gonna read this because normal draft is about all that I play, and this is just some random thing that I found and I want to know. We want to clear up our plans for normal draft queues in various regions around the world. Earlier today, we announced that we've turned off normal draft in every region except for NA, EU, and BR, I think is Brazil. Specifically, this means turning it off in Europe, Nordic East, LAS, LAN, TR, and KR, Korea. I don't know what the rest of those are. This didn't affect other regions where the queue is already inactive. We caused confusion by saying that in an ideal world we'd retire normal draft in NA, EU, and BR. We have no current plans to do so. Ultimately, we would like to take the best aspects of both normal queues position preference from normal draft and a less hardcore gameplay speedy champion select from blind pick into a single queue. Okay, so I might have to look at this post real quick. How to rank up in the 2017 season. Okay, I read some of this post, but I apparently didn't read enough of it. Because they said that they would be that they want to retire normal draft, and that's literally all that I play. So if I can get the role selection part of normal draft just the free role selection and no bans, and like actual draft pick. You don't have to ban out people. You don't have to, do all of that stuff. I'd honestly be fine with that. It would get me through Champion Select quicker. I don't care enough about Champion Select being that long to play. Seriously, if I could get the role that I wanted, 1 or 2 roles that I wanted, and 1 or 2 roles, and 0 or 1 roles that I didn't want, to be guaranteed for me to get or not get every game in Normal's blind pick, and that is all. I'd honestly be fine with that. In the regions where normal draft was disabled, it had very low participation. Our concern going into the launch of Flex is that we have many similar queue options that will result in a lot of low-quality experiences rather than a few good-quality ones. In other regions, we've already turned off normal draft. We'll keep listening to your feedback through the preseason as we start to see how the new queues perform and evaluate based on how healthy things are looking. In the end, we'll customize each region's queue system to best support its players. So, I'm going to comment on this real quick, if the page will load. It's slowly loading. I'm not going to lie, I really do miss Team Builder sometimes. Me too, friend, me too. As someone on NA who literally only plays normal draft and occasionally, not sure if that's right, no it's not, ranked, I can say that I literally only play normal draft for guaranteed role selection. If the new champion select were ported over to blind pick while leaving it blind over draft, I would play that instead in a heartbeat. I miss Team Builder, and if I could at least get role selection, cutting down on the insanely high queue times that were why Team Builder was retired, I'd be extreme in blind. With no risk of my champion being banned or taken from me, I'd be pretty happy. Even if that means I couldn't ban the champs that built me super hard. Because you guys know I get tilted. I'm an ADC main. I get tilted by assassins murdering me in a fraction of a second. So tiny minuscule it takes 1,000 digits just to cover it. Like, seriously? That little period right there is about how long it takes assassins to assassinate me in the preseason. It takes so little time that I have 0 time to react, even to do something as simple as flashing away. And it takes so little time that my team doesn't have any ability to react fast enough to stop it. I recognize that my teammates cannot stop it cannot stop a Talon when he parkours over a wall. QW auto attack. Like, you're dead before the W return even happens. Parkour over the wall, Alt Q W. That's all it takes! The ult hits you on the way out, and then after you Q them to... And then after the Talon Qs you to hit you, it goes all the way in. All of the blades from the, all of the blades from the ultimate converge on your location, and all of them deal that damage to you. And as for this, I'm just going to put in my little bit of input here. First off, ranked flex won't be the only ranked system for very long, and will be a separate system from solo queue. Second, because it's a separate system, who you get placed with has nothing to do with their rank in dynamic queue. That will transfer over to solo queue. For now, imagine you're playing ranked in preseason 2/3 before it was changed off the Elo system, when literally a person who was bronze 5-0 Elo in the last season could be matched with the highest ranked challenger. Actually, Platinum was the highest rank that they could go. Platinum, which at the time was the highest rank player in their region. So, everyone was hard reset to not 2000, 1200 MMR, and the rank of people you play with/against has nothing to do with their previous rank. So that's something about the flex that I'm seeing a lot of people not understand. Now, I haven't played the ranked flex queue at all. However, I've been seeing Philol on his Fi Games channel playing the ranked flex queue for these past few days, and he ended in Platinum 3 on that account last year. And he's been getting matched with people who are bronze, silver, and gold. So that is what tips me off that it was a hard MMR reset for the flex queue, and why I think that the MMR and the MMR and the matchmaking based on who you were previously, what rank you previously were, will be transferred into the solo queue system. ELHF. Okay then, so I need to try to find... What is this bug? It's possible... It is possible that for some reason... courage counts slows as hard CC as CC for it, but it's not supposed to. Viable bug. Viable potential bug. I'm getting distracted so much by just trolling the boards for a little while. Okay, news, something I need to look up. What this... Okay, that's... One for All is up. I need to find that post. I don't even remember which post it is I'm looking for anymore. Give me a minute. Oh, it's this one, the Ask Riot. Okay then. So basically, in this Ask Riot post, they talked about how, okay, Kalista and Azir were so strong and so popular at the beginning of the season that they pushed everybody else out of the mid lane and AD carry meta. If these guys were not picked, or if these guys were not banned, they were first picked. And if they were not picked, then they were not picked because they were banned. Especially in competitive play, they had a 90% each pick ban rate. Kalista is a classic case of balancing for top-level pro play conflicting with balancing for the majority of our player base. In general, we try to do our best to balance for both of these populations concurrently. But when extreme outliers pop up in either general or professional play, we tend to focus on solving the problem for that audience, sometimes at the expense of the other. In Kalista's case, this happened with her rather extreme stretch of professional dominance at the beginning of the season. To recap, she was boasting an over 90% pick ban rate in professional play in Season 6 when we did a set of nerfs in 6.6 March. Despite these nerfs, she continued to see competitive play for several patches afterwards and didn't even fall completely off the competitive radar until 6.18, seeing spot picks mostly against Sivir all the way up through 6.16. During this period, had to wipe my glasses off. There were some spots on them and I couldn't see. During this period, her overall performance slowly degraded as well, leading to the state we're at now, where she's finally fallen completely out of pro play and is too weak in general to play to boot. For long-term balanced strategy on the character, we're in a bit of a rough spot with Kalista. Her iconic features, unparalleled kiting, jumping smite for securing objectives, and Fate's Call protecting your support from picks, are all uniquely valuable relative to the marksman class. As such, we're probably going to have to pick and choose which of these outputs gets to stay and which have to go so that she doesn't render other carries obsolete when she is viable. For reference, this is similar to the problems we run into with Azir when your unique strengths are broad enough that they overshadow a large portion of your competition. The difference between viable and pick ban status is either razor thin or simply doesn't exist at all. So in other words, they're saying that sometime in the preseason they're planning to buff Kalista and Azir slightly, so that, because they're currently completely unplayable for everybody, so that the people like me who find them very fun. I enjoy Kalista so much. Her playstyle is so much fun. I love this champion. But right now she is unplayably weak. I have her on Mastery 5. If she weren't so weak that it is impossible to play her and not feed, I would probably have her on Mastery 7 right now. I love that champion. The thing is, okay, so for Kalista, I'm going to talk a little bit more on my personal take on where I would take Kalista. Unparalleled kiting, first off, I remember that being the design of Kalista. Her Martial Poise passive was the entire thing that Kalista was based around when they were creating her. And it's one of the things that a lot of Kalista players find fun about her. However, at the same time, honestly, sometimes, especially when you're chasing, until you have a ton of movement speed, it's just faster to walk than to take your dashes. So, I'm hoping that if they keep the unparalleled kiting, then, I would be happy to see the Ren trumping Spike for securing objectives. I would be happy to see Ren completely removed from her kit and Fate's Call completely reworked and removed from her kit. Maybe not making the support untargetable, but making them able to Sorry, my parents bought me Mountain Dew, and I've been drinking a lot of Mountain Dew, primarily Mountain Dew, so I just get incredibly thirsty, especially when I talk for extended periods of time like this. Mountain Dew actually doesn't quench your thirst at all. No soda does. We did an experiment when I was in freshman biology class where we showed that we made a syrup, a compound that was kind of like a syrup and similar to soda, and we put an egg in it, which an egg is the largest type of single cell there is, and we just kind of left it there over the course of a weekend, and then when we came back, I think it was a hard-boiled egg, yeah. It was a hard-boiled egg. We peel off the shell when we come back at the end of the week, and the egg is completely dehydrated. And the explanation for this is that the soda is a region of high density. Wait, is it high density? I don't remember. This was 4 years ago, people. 5 years ago, something like that. So, basically, by diffusion, the water was getting sucked right out of the egg. Anyways, back to Kalista, after that little tangent. So, for Kalista, how I would personally take her is unparalleled kiting is very important for kit as a whole. It was what the kit was based on. It was the original thing that I remember from her release. It was the original thing that they entirely based the rest of her kit around. This was their starting point for passive Martial Poise. Rend trumping Smite for securing objectives, I could see being turned into something a bit more unique, because right now it is identical to Twitch's E, except that it stacks up, except that it can have more stacks. And it even does a similar amount of damage per stack. The only problem is that the only difference is that it doesn't have a flat base, I don't remember. But it does, if I'm correct, it doesn't have a flat base that doesn't scale with the number of stacks that it has, like Twitch's E does. So, I could see Rend getting completely reworked into a different ability. Now, Fate's Call is a lore ability. Like, you can, if you read Kalista's lore, you can kind of see her using Fate's Call when she makes a bond with somebody to kind of like draw them into herself and help them pass on to the afterlife after their betrayal. Or after they were betrayed. So, in a way, I can see Fate's Call being a lore ability, and I can see reworking it so that your support doesn't get protected from picks as much, but from it, like, they don't become untargetable until they actually reach you, and until then they are still able to be hit as much as you want. And I can see Rend being completely reworked into a different ability. However, the unparalleled kiting, that was her original starting point, and it's something that's so unique to her that I don't think that they would just abandon it. And it's something that I think should be, should stay, and I feel like it should have a higher base dash speed, but not scale as hard with movement speed. So right now it has a fairly low, low enough base jump speed that you may as well walk, it'll actually be faster to walk instead of to animation cancel and kite properly. In the early game at least. And then once you actually get some movement speed items, it becomes a lot better. All that being said, we're likely to buff Kalista and Azir up slightly during the preseason. They both went through Worlds without being picked, so nudging their power up to see if we can find that sweet spot where they aren't out of line competitively while being in a better spot for the average player makes sense as our next step. If that doesn't work out, though, we will almost certainly need to reevaluate the fundamental pieces of these types of kits so that we can balance them better for normal play without centralizing the entire pro scene around them. So, I believe it was Riot Meddler made a comment on a post asking, okay, what's going on with Azir and Kalista, saying his personal ideas on the champions that Riot Riot Games does not necessarily entirely reflect his views on this. So basically, his idea for Azir, which is exactly what it sounds like here, is that his kit having the range, the DPS that it has, from as long of range it has, and the playmaking ability of the Shurima Shuffle is just too overloaded of a kit. This seems to follow that same thought process that, hey, the Shurima Shuffle plus the amount of range that he has to hit you with is a little bit too strong on a single kit. And if you're going to, and they may wind up, what I would think is that they're likely going to wind up short-term buffing them a little bit and trying to find a little bit more of a sweet spot where the people like me who are lower ranking players who just want to play these champions for fun and normals can do so without going 0 and 30. And meanwhile making these champions not define the professional meta. So then this goes on to some more questions. What happens to skin shards and essences at the end of the season? They will all stay. The special, unique materials like championship gems, like I had like 30 championship gems, have already been removed, and so have the project cores. And them being removed may be where this question was stemming from. Because they were thinking, is this going to happen for everything that I've had? And no, it is not. Champion shards, skin shards, wart skin shards, everything that isn't an event item, the project cores and the championship shards will stay. And then, why do Noxian and Demacian soldiers? This is a very important lore question, and I love it because I just love the lore of this game. And I wish that Riot would do a lot more for, like, lore updates. Why do Noxian and Demacian soldiers still use swords and axes in a world where black powder and hex-tech technology plays such a big role? Garen and Darius could have special armor, but what about the regular infantry? The way we are looking at it is that Runeterra is at a pivotal point in its history, a point where black powder is becoming more prevalent and hex-tech technology has only recently been invented. Both will change the world, particularly hex-tech, but that's not yet happened, as both are likely still quite dangerous and neither is anywhere near mass-produced. There may be a handful of inventors that are actually able to successfully craft hex-tech devices, and each is a lovingly crafted individual piece that probably takes years to make. Remember, our champions are just that, champions. They represent exceptional individuals in Runeterra. As such, there are more mages, heroes, black powder weapons, and hex tech present in our champ lineup than is representative of the average Runeterran. Hex tech is very powerful. It essentially allows anyone to wield magical power, not just the 1 in a million born with those abilities. Now this is talking about Runeterra. I believe Runeterra is the continent that most of League of Legends is on, and then the Shadow Isles and Ionia are separate things. They're not the same continent. They're not the same location as Runeterra. And the Shadow Isles were once the Blessed Isles. The Ruined King from Noxus came in and performed this horrible thing that killed everything in the Isles in the name of attempting to bring back his dead wife, the Queen. And then that turned a lot of them into twisted undead creatures. Hecarim was a warrior who fused with his horse as he was killed by the Isles and then was revived. And the only reason that Yorick is still technically alive is because of the vial that he wears around his neck. Ionia, however, is a very rich magical place. It has a lot, like, most of the champions who have magic, who don't use hex tech, come from Ionia. Syndra, Vladimir, Karma, Irelia technically is a magic wielder because she uses like telekinesis, magic blades, whatever, I don't even know, to fight with. What are some other good examples of Ionian champions that use magic and are like magic born? Anyways, so meanwhile, most of the people from the Runeterra are not inherently magical born. Illaoi is a good example of someone who uses magical abilities but is not inherently magic born. Basically, she is the priestess of Nagake Boros, and this means that... Oh, hey. I think that's Dad now coming home with Jake at 2 a.m. Jake works late and works at a place very far away. Jake is my older brother, by the way. And he is now living with us, him, his wife, and his daughter. That's a whole different thing. That's personal life stuff. I'm not going to get too deep into that. Basically, they wanted to move down to Tennessee because it's a lot cheaper to live down here. And Jake needed to get some stuff paid off before he bought his own place, or else he'd have to go back to Illinois every month, once a month, to do whatever. I don't know. Hextech is very powerful. It essentially allows anyone to wield magical power, not just the one in a million born with those abilities, but all of Piltover might only have a handful of Hextech guns. And while 10 of those weapons would wreak havoc on the battlefield, it's not going to stop an army of 10,000 elite Demacian soldiers or a massive Noxian war host. Having said all that, while Demacia is quite traditional, it would probably hold to its way of fighting for as long as it was effective. Noxus, on the other hand, would be very interested in new weapons of war and would certainly be looking to incorporate them into their armies. So this excites me because I see this as them hinting at a new champion coming in the future that is a Noxian champion who uses Hextech abilities. Maybe it's an Urgot rework. I mean, Urgot, if I remember correctly, Urgot was a Noxian soldier who was sliced in half by Garen and then rebuilt using Hextech. So I could very easily see this hinting at a little bit of what the Urgot rework is going to be like. Going hard into Hextech abilities, maybe even be a little bit of... And I'm just going to comment this right here. How would one possibly explain Klett's sidearm? It definitely has a homemade feel to it. It's almost definitely not Hextech. Could it be he borrowed it from some craftsman that wandered onto his land? That's just a gunpowder weapon, not a Hextech weapon, right? Yeah, it is. I'm fairly certain. So I'm going to comment. What was I thinking about? That bit about Noxus wanting to incorporate whatever they can into their armies to make them stronger really makes me think that Riot is hinting at a potential future Noxian champion who uses primarily Hextech, or possibly that the Urgot rework will be far more heavily themed on around text tech. As for long-term changes to Kalista and Azir, I could imagine Kalista losing Rend and losing the ultimate, making her support invulnerable for until they reach Kalista. I'm gonna say before they reach Kalista, yet speeding up Marshall Poise's base jump speed and lowering its movement speed scaling as a good way to maybe make her not quite so pick fan and competitive while oh shut up. I know what I did wrong. Allowing the bronze/silver plebs like me to be able to play her and to be able to play her for fun and not spend 9/10 of the game on staring at a gray screen. Azir, I agree with. I believe it was Meddler's comments stating that having both the long-ranged sustained DPS Azir has and the Shurima shuffle all on one hit is a bit too strong, and I would remove the Shurima shuffle from his kit, reworking the ultimate, and make him go a lot harder on the long-range DPS playstyle. DPS mage playstyle. Also, once any planned changes to Rileys are made, maybe having all of this would maybe having both the shuffle and the DPS would be not so bad because you can escape the DPS fairly easily when he doesn't have Rileys. I remember playing Azir on Earth mode before they made the change that CDR, before they removed the portion of his passive where CDR reduced, or CDR gave him attack speed. And oh boy, that was fun. I actually fed a lot because I have no idea how to play Azir. I don't play him very well. But can I just say that I got a first blood double kill before minions even spawned, just by hitting things with my W. And it was ridiculous, and I had such high attack speed, and soldiers were up so often, that I was just throwing them all down as they came up. 3 soldiers skewering 1 guy all at the same time. Oh boy, it was hilarious. Potentially changing his ultimate to be similar to a more temporary version of the original rework Kog'Maw W, making him able to attack 2 times as fast, ignoring the cap when using soldiers to basic attack. I think that could be a really cool replacement too. So what made rework Kog'Maw so strong was the on-hit effects and making his ability on-hit build plus the amount of DPS that you could output with the 5.0 attack speed. Obviously, his soldiers may wind up losing a bit of DPS when the ult isn't up to compensate. So, what made Kog'Maw so strong wasn't just that he had 5.0 attack speed, but that it was always up. It literally had 100% uptime. I'm gonna go and see boards. Did anybody else respond to stuff that I have commented in this video? Nope. Okay then. So, that's basically my idea for some potential changes to try to balance out Azir and Kalista so that they're not overwhelming in professional play, while us plebs being able to, play them. That's an interesting glitch. Anyways, so I think that I'm going to take a look through this guy's random concepts for abilities after I close out this video and see just what it is and if I can get anything from it for a champion concept. I'm going to be posting on here, and I'm going to post this on here on screen, create a discussion for you guys to see. Choose a board. Concepts and creations. I have an idea for a champion. I have an idea for a basic general thing for a champion and some stuff that I want to incorporate into their kit, but I'm not sure what else to do. So, basic concepts for the Crystal Marksman champion concept. So, first off, for some lore, I imagine it having something to do with Skarner's, I don't know what to call them, a type of beast? They're technically a bestial race, even if they are sentient. Because they look like scorpions, they're technically a bestial race. Not sure exactly what, though. For abilities, I have a champion concept. Please comment suggestions. I have this idea for a champion who uses a crossbow and feels like he's using a crossbow. And I'm gonna put this in italics. Being a Twitch main and playing a decent amount of Vayne, I have noticed that both of the champions that I think of when I think crossbow just stack a bunch of attack speed and kill things with attacks coming out at light speed. But for a crossbow, that just isn't realistic. Crossbows are slow firing, but penetrate through armor fairly easily in the real world. As such, my idea for his passive is that he has a very low base attack speed, something around 0.56, something around 0.5, and then with a cap at 1.5 attack speed instead of 2.5. However, he gets 3% armor penetration. That scales with the enemy's level, similar to lethality. Also, because attack speed scales on the base, I may have to tweak. I will have to make it so that he gains bonus attack speed from items. But haven't done much with the numbers yet. Q should also be a fairly low cooldown skill shot ability that pierces enemies killed for a small amount of bonus range on future hits and hard resets his basic attack timer. After casting Q, so you can basic attack, cast Q, then basic attack immediately after, as if you had as if you didn't have insanely low base attack speed, again to compensate for the low base in the early game. Because if he's hitting slower than his opponents, it doesn't even matter how much armor he's cutting through. He is just going to get demolished in auto trades or all-in fights in the bot lane if he doesn't have at least one ability that allows him to reset his basic attack timer. So that's his Q, and that's the idea behind it. Because when you have 0.5 attack speed and your opponent has, with attack speed runes, I can typically get Twitch to around 0.7, 0.8, or high 0.7, low 0.8. You're just gonna lose that fight, no matter what you do. He's going to auto you, get his W down. You're not going to be able to walk out of the W before it applies at least 3 stacks if he places it right. And then he's going to pop his E on you when you get to 6 stacks. And if by this point you haven't flashed away, you are dead. He's pretty obviously, by the title, supposed to be an ADC. So, I think I've been talking about this in fairly darkness. Yeah, I've been just randomly talking about random stuff on the boards for nearly an hour. So I think I'm just gonna leave this video off here. This is just random. This is something that I occasionally do in my free time. Just random, pointless boards trolling. This was probably extremely boring to watch. For those of you who... I don't think that anyone actually sat through the full 60 minutes of this. However, I will post a link to this post and a link. I will post a link to several of the posts that I have been to in this, if I remember, in the comments in the description down below when I post to this. I may put up like a Word doc for them, so that you guys can go and check out all of these posts and get the basic gist of everything that I talked about without me, without having to sit there and listen to me ramble for literally an hour. Okay, so this is an interesting post about Ivern. I know I said that I would end this video off here, but I've been thinking this exact same thing. Did they think about Ivern? Ivern's unique stuff could be pretty strange with the new jungle. Even in the few games that I've played as him in the old jungle, I've noticed that his unique clearing mechanic could be very strange and very awful if I didn't think about anything to do for him in the preseason to modify him to work with the updated jungle. I know what most must be thinking, another thread for how sad Ivern might be, or how he needs buffs, or just in general complaining about him. Well, that's not entirely wrong. With the new jungle and the preseason changes, I have one question that can then be the stem of other questions. Was there any thought about Ivern at all? I'm not sure. From how he plays, he feels as though he was made exclusively for the old jungle of the season he originated in. With the new changes, camps take longer to spawn. This and this alone is already an incredible nerf to Ivern. That one change alone does several things to him. 1. Drastically slows his clear time due to his own passive. 2. Will always put him behind the enemy jungler at all points in the game. 3. Makes him almost completely smite reliant just to try and keep up in gold with the enemy jungler. With his own passive already slowing Ivern down in the jungle, that puts him behind the enemy junglers. Now he has to wait for even nearly an ultimate skill long timer to go from putting his passive onto his camp and then waiting for it to just respawn. Sure, the passive gets shorter as he levels, but the timer will always be the same for the respawn on camps. He'll always be on a slower path than any other champion playing as a jungler in the entire game. Well, that's just an assumption, but no other champ is time-gated on clearing camps. So the only other question I can ask, what can be done to save Ivern, the friendly tree that sometimes gives sweets, from getting lost in conversation with his team or the enemy while mindlessly roaming until it's time to go free a camp? With junglers clearing and farming at great speed so far this preseason compared to last season, what exactly can we does Riot, the Rito gods have planned for him? I say, save the forest. Vote. I've been thinking about this exactly since I first saw preseason jungle changes, and especially since they were released to live. I don't even own Ivern, but in the few games I've played on him in his first rotation, I already knew that something about him just wouldn't fit into the preseason quite right. The passive is designed to enable him to be a support jungler that isn't reliant on killing camps, but it makes him incredibly slow at clearing, especially with how much he's gated, especially when Kha'Zix is now getting isolation buffed you on 3 camps for free, and it's not a very big stretch for him to kill the small raptors. And the medium Krug, which, while it splits, lets him ISO cue the big Krug as much as he wants. Then he kills the little ones with a basic attack. And then the big Krug is just free ISO cues forever. Until it dies and it splits. So, basically, Ivern is just incredibly slow compared to everyone else, and I feel like a buff to his near gate timer would be a very good way to help this. As it stands right now, an enemy jungler can go and clear one side of their jungle, then come across then run in on a low health, low mana, lower leveled, overall weaker Ivern, setting down groves in his jungle, kill him, take his entire jungle, and just be stronger. And just punish him out of existence. Ivern, as it stands, especially with the jungle changes, is useless. He offers literally... Okay, he offers a lot. He offers a fair amount, but when he's that easy to prey upon, when the ability to prey on him is just that easy, there's just nothing he can do to stop it. Okay, so this video has gone on for well over long enough. It's been an hour and 10 minutes that I've been sitting here talking about just random League of Legends board stuff. And biology and just other random crud that I really don't need or want to be talking about at 2:30 in the morning. So, for now, thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, share. This video will definitely be going up in the morning. I'm gonna go get a good night's sleep. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.